we're facing our fears. Saturn is one place of the occult. When you talk about Aries, you're talking about fears. You're talking about sexual desires. You're talking about pleasures that you want fulfilled. Saturn is really where this like hermit's lanterns energy is going to be with us inside of the cave. Okay, where what do we do inside of a cave? We retreat, we protect ourselves, we recluse, right? Um, we create fires, we create warmth, we gather our resources for survival. It's the place you go when you're lost in the jungle to have solidarity in the night, initiation into your own selfhood, into your own alchemical review. When we talk about Saturn and Aries, good morning, good to see you in here. And I want everybody to, I'm going to leave a question here. Drop your sign that you have Aries. How do I type a question? Oh man, it won't let me paste. Okay. Yes, I can paste. Voila. So I want you to drop your sign. All right, can everybody see that right there? Thank you for hitting the thumbs up and the likes button early. I do appreciate you. How do I move this out of my way? All right, we'll put it right there. So drop your planet, your house, your sign, your zodiac that you have in Aries. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button. Understanding the Saturn retrograde, we're going to talk about all 12 zodiac signs. So I'm going to a little extra attention for those of you who do drop that sign. Saturn and Aries is indeed about facing the fears that you have when it comes to the structures that you feel keep you small, okay? That you feel keep you away from everything you think that I am. You feel that keeps you away from your primal self. So this is Saturn and Aries as you hit that thumbs up. Retrograde asking us to pause so that we can interrogate these laws that we are living under. What are the structures that are keeping you limited, making you feel restricted? All right, I want to rejoin the round table. I haven't figured out the school schedule. Hey, when you're ready, you're ready. All right, we'll see you in there. It'll be a pleasure. We meet up not this Sunday, but the next Sunday at 10 a.m. Mexico time. I don't know what that is. New York City, that's 12 o'clock. And everybody else, you'll see that link pinned for what Star Stories is talking about in the chat about joining the Shamans Roundtable. We got a lot more effective and efficient in there. So thank you for hitting the thumbs up. Okay, so we're interrogating these laws that we're living under. Internal laws in Aries, a very internal sign, very introspective. Drop again your planets, your zodiac signs that you have Aries in, and we'll help you understand what are you introspecting. We'll help you understand fears, and we're going to help you understand how to overcome those fears while Saturn is retrograde, having us review and interrogate these occult realms of isolation that Saturn acts for. Understand that Saturn in Aries is going to be ruled by the 10th and the 11th house. So it's like, you're going to likely lose your reputation. Your identity will take a moment under a microscope, under, a lens that you'll want to interrogate yourself. You'll want to interrogate, why am I afraid of this? You'll want to interrogate, how is my identity trapped in the lack of reclaiming my power? How am I lacking a certain sense of responsibility with the self? And drop your Aries zodiac sign. Okay, this is an alchemical review about how you've been conditioned to fear your own flame, how you've been conditioned to fear what you don't understand about yourself, how you've been conditioned to react in certain situations that might require tact or might require a technical approach rather than just becoming angry because you don't understand. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up. Make sure you get this video out there. And again, drop your planet, house, and zodiac sign in the chat below so we can give you a forecast and horoscope on that. So when we look a little bit deeper, it's like, okay, it's also including the deep survival fears that we have that make us feel like we shrink from our power, that we shrink our assets and our money, okay, that we shrink into scarcity, that we shrink what we need and require in love with a loving partner in a relationship, how we shrink in forms of leadership where life is asking us to step up and stand true. Thank you for hitting that thumbs up and a likes button. And so I have recently I realized somehow, some way, somebody actually stole my identity. You talk about reputation and Saturn, right? Like somebody literally stole my name. They stole my reputation. And, the thing is with this, the fear is no longer abstract, just out there in the person. Hey, what's up? What's up? How you going? I hope I pronounced this properly. Ashfaik. Let me know what your zodiac sign is in the chat, Ashfaik. All right, for Aries specifically, if you have an Aries moon, if you have an Aries Venus, you have an Aries Jupiter, and we'll spend time on that particular Aries placements as you all hit your thumbs up. So, so the question, this is a real world Saturn teaching for me. Like my literal identity was stolen at the governmental level, and it's annoying. And I've been talking to credit unions and X, Y, and Z, and it's like freezing accounts, and it's really symbolism about what must I reclaim, what boundary did I neglect. Okay, I'm really good, thank you. Good to hear, good to hear. Let me know what your zodiac sign is down in chat. I'm currently living in Mexico. And so the thing is, like, what part of your identity needs to be better structured? What part of your own personal identity, Aries being the identity at the rawest, most primal level, needs to be protected? And the thing is, the Saturn retrograde, this particular transit, will be forcing us to face our root fears, okay? Root chakra fears, primal fears about food, about can you pay your rent, about, will you have shelter over your head tonight? Fears around scarcity, around survival. Aries is not a sign that's really thinking and always about how to strive in the world. It's a sign that's more focused, like Scorpio with Mars. How do I survive the next moment? And so Saturn retrograde will really help us check in with these internal structures that we've created in our mind about how do I survive the next moment, right? Like not even trying to go too much further into your future. It's just like, how do I survive the night? And this is how we can really give our power away. This is how we find ourselves in shame or even avoidance, which is what allows other people, which is again now Libra, other people to suppress us. Okay. So when we look at it, the scarcity mindset, the Saturn's trap, being afraid to thrive rather staying. Now, Saturn is a sign that rules the minority people. It's a sign that, or a planet that rules the minority, a planet that is ruling those who feel marginalized, those who feel discriminated against. And when you look at it like that, it's like, it's usually people stuck in survival mode, usually people stuck in a scarcity mindset thinking. So Saturn rules that scarcity, but in Aries, it's showing us like, where do I assume that there's no room left for me? Where do I assume there's no room for me to grow? What do I do to sabotage my own desires in order to feel protected, in order to feel safe? Okay. Saturn and Aries is about like, where do I fear the cost of standing out, of showing myself, of requiring attention? Aries is a sign that needs attention. It's like a baby. It requires attention. It wants to be loved. It wants attention. It wants its needs to be met at the most primal level. Thank you for the thumbs up. Drop your Aries sign in the chat where your planet in Aries is at. When it comes to leading, when it comes to succeeding, like how do I fear the cost of succeeding? Like, and I realized, and I had to come to terms with this morning, actually. I was like, man, like, I'm not afraid of making it month to month and surviving. Like I have bigger fears when it comes to thriving in the world, being seen on the mass scale. Like these have been more bigger fears. So the call of Saturn Aries is to master these fears and not to be afraid of them. Make sure that we are free from them. So when we look at it, Saturn and Aries, as I get into the 4 horoscopes for all 12 zodiac signs, Saturn and Aries is really about examining identity and the fears that we have at the identity level, which includes our music, the foods that we eat, the people we associate with, who we are when we're associating with them. Are we our true selves? Where are you from? I live in Mexico currently. What's up? What's up? Good to hear from you. Drop your Aries sign in the chat. Understanding the fears of, really stepping into who am I allowed to be, right? The reviewing our past failures and our humiliations, even that Saturn deals with this a lot of times in Aries and retrograde. Where have I been humiliated? How have I shaped my image based off this stage or this moment in life where I was humiliated? When I was made fun of and it didn't feel good, right? So when you look at the rewards that Saturn gives, it disciplines our fears and it brings us the rewards. And this is something that's miraculous and marvelous about Saturn, right? When you check in with your fear and you give yourself, and you discipline that fear, and you realize, damn, this fear is an hallucination. This fear is literally not real, right? This fear is in my mind. This fear is something I made up through thought by overthinking these times where I've experienced a trauma, whether I recognize them or not. Teach me English. You seem to be speaking English perfectly fine. Drop that Aries down in the chat. So, it absolutely rewards this patient warrior by literally confronting our fears, confronting the fears that we have in order to create safety, as well as to create a bigger life, a more grandiose existence, right? Thank you for hitting the thumbs up button. I see 4 people in the chat. Let me get at least 4 thumbs up. And when we're going to gain this unshakable confidence, it'll be rooted in a truth, an updated truth, a more modern truth, a truth that is internally and externally safe and grounded, okay? The ability to commit to real goals, not our ego's fantasies, right? And this is where Saturn and Neptune conjunction is playing a role, right? Like they're both going retrograde right around the same time. And so not the fantasy, but really mastering our anger, turning that anger, turning our fuel, turning our fears into fuel, all right, that push us from behind. I do thank you for that thumbs up. I saw you. I appreciate you. So that we can fuel to create. And this is what ultimately what Aries wants to do. It wants to create things, right? It wants to develop something brand new. It wants to be the spark of divinity that brings, a dream, even potentially a fantasy into the real world, into real life. Thank you for those hearts. I see you. So, this is a time to be really solid and enduring with our legacy from our passions. So understand that your passions will become the legacy when you endure the moment, the struggles, the challenge that you're currently going through. This too shall pass, and do keep that in mind. So I look at it on my take before I get into the all 12 zodiac signs and the forecast. My take is really this identity sovereignty, owning your name, okay? Owning your power, owning your personal story, realizing that you're not a victim of it, that your traumas are stored in your physical body, but that you can work that through. You can move through these traumas, and you can tap on your third eye. You can tap at the top of your crown where there's a meridian point. You can tap here on your face, and these are released points. You can tap on your above your collarbone, underneath your collarbone in your chest. Okay, you can do exercise, you can do yoga, you can do movement. You can sing your way through the traumas, which a frequency that can get it out of your body as well. Retrograde, this Saturn retrograde is going to help us to develop something called fear alchemy, where we are facing the root level fears and we're transforming them. All right. So what are you afraid of at the most survival based level that's not really allowing you to tap into those higher chakras, the throat chakra, the crown, the third eye, the causal chakras, where you're creating from the divine, from faith, from trust in the self as well as the divine, where you don't really negotiate in your prayers, begging for a better reality rather than claiming and existing and coexisting with spirit, with source, where you don't beg for a paycheck or for a raise or for a new love story. You embody, the being, the identity of that future self, which Saturn is about. It's about stepping into the future version of your royalty, the future version of your reputation. Imagine it today, so that we're facing these root level fears of survival, failure, and literally being seen, which Saturn is about in its projected form. Drop your Aries down in the chat. Let me know where you're at. Maybe give some forecasts coming up next. So it's about authentic leadership and really cutting away of false images. Understanding that as you lead from the real self, everything that's not real will fall away. And as you stay true in that and integral, you'll be good. Your discipline right now is literally necessary for your creative willpower. And as you stay disciplined with your truth, not with your illusions, not with your hallucinations, not what you convinced yourself is real out of fear and thinking about the fear so much, you will access this raw Aries fire, and it will help you to shape your reality. It will help you shape your destiny, help you shape your passions, your goals, your desires. And so let's get into now all 12 zodiac signs, okay? Ba 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 da ba ba. As we move away from the trap of the fears that we've had, forcing us into isolation. This deep review of Saturn retrograde will be where our sabotaging of desires out of the fears that we have will completely dissipate. It'll walk away. Thank you for the thumbs up. No fear this year. Absolutely. And I think the key with this is like, you know, not necessarily, in my opinion, not saying it's right or wrong, in my opinion, it's not about no fear. It's about recognizing the fear. So again, today I recognize the fear of, I'm not afraid of making rent from month to month. I'm not afraid of putting food in my mouth. I'm afraid of not thriving. I'm afraid of not succeeding beyond measure. I'm afraid of, becoming the biggest, most powerful, and enlightened version of myself. And I realized this was a greater fear rather than, can I make it till tomorrow? And it's like, these were the bigger fears that I'm like, it's time to address these, time to become literally a more grandiose version of myself. It's time to operate in more faith and more trust. It's time to operate from my highest intuition and recognize my fears that recognize not my fears because they're not mine. I don't own them, but recognize fears that have crossed my mind and not attached to them. Right? Realizing, okay, because this fear crossed my mind, this could be a fear that is inherited through DNA, inherited through conditions. This could be a fear that has been just witnessed through thought of the collective of interpersonal relationships where I talk to somebody, I touch somebody, and through touching that person in a random interaction, I've absorbed and taken on their fear. But it's just a thought where I begin to hallucinate as if I own that fear. So again, I think that it's not about walking away from fear altogether. It's about recognizing and honoring that this fear is real. It exists, at least in the mind, but I'm able to move beyond that and become a true version. If I recognize that fear, I can let it become the fuel. And so I see you saying, I love how I can feel my story in your words. It helps me adjust and anchor in truth. Absolutely. So, divine rights, drop your Aries planet and zodiac. We're getting ready to give these forecasts out right now. So the key is really not sabotaging, our highest reality. Understanding that right now, Saturn retrograde is going to show us the arena of life that we've been faced to forge a path through these restricted areas, these restrictions that come through fear, these restrictive patterns, a time to literally take responsibility, to understand that discipline equates to self-love, and Aries in the space of self-love is doing the things that may have felt tough at a point, but ultimately you'll be rewarded as you walk through that difficulty. Thank you for the thumbs up. Drop your Aries sign and planet down below. The house that you have Aries, if you don't have any planets, in the chat. We're giving your forecast. And so, again, Saturn ruling your chart. I'm going to talk about that, what topics are under karmic review, as well as a key way to overcome these fears for each of the zodiac signs, which I'm going through right now. Aries in the 9th house, great. We're going to talk about that. Let's get it done. All right. So we have Aries coming up right now. You're the first forecast, Aries. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button if you're watching this. Aries. Obviously, many of you know I'm in Aries. We're going through the first house of the self, the body, the identity, okay, the primal instincts. Saturn for us is ruling the 10th house. It is also ruling the 11th house. 10th house for Capricorn, 11th house for Aquarius, as those two rulers in that planet. And Aries, the main fear I have written down for you here is the fear of being seen as selfish, as being seen as incompetent, as somebody failing in the public image, right? The fear of owning your own authority. And I actually experienced this today. I was talking to my partner about, taking a trip and going somewhere abroad. And I was like, man, I'm afraid if I do this, that it's going to be selfish in this particular manner. And on the live, I'm not here to give more details than that, but I can admit at least that much that I realized, and I was talking to my partner, I was like, man, I'm afraid if I do this, I'm going to be taking a risk. And this risk is what my higher self is aligning to do. This risk is what, my future version is asking me to trust. But my current version is feeling afraid of this. My current version is feeling like if I do this, it's going to potentially put me in a bad situation. And, you know, I don't have all the resources to take this particular risk that I want to take. And I know I have support with my 11th house community, Aries, like I said, ruled by the 11th house. I know I have support. I understand that. And then there's this, but the fear that Saturn in retrograde Aries is saying, if I have to rely on these resources, I feel like I'm going to selfishly be taken from this. And so this is just a real life fear. So the key I have to overcome this right now is for Aries to discipline your self-image, okay? To commit to showing up as a leader, which for me right now on the live, this is the best that I'm able to do as a leader in vulnerability, showing up through the daily embodiments. And so as I went through this fear, what did I do? I woke up and it's like, Pernell, stick to your routines. You know, I realized that these worries, these anxieties, these fears are wanting to try to own me, but they don't. They're not mine to own. I don't own them. They don't own me. So you know what? Once you wake up and drink your hot water, okay, great. Now I want you to do your breath work. Okay, great. Do your mudras. Awesome. You got your hand mudras. Okay, great. Do your acupressure. Take care of your physical body. Okay, awesome. Do your breath work. Okay, great. Next I did my yoga. So it's like when I realize these things, like do your affirmations, and I'm in bed before I even got out of bed. I'm doing these affirmations, you know, reminding myself of everything that I am, everything that I'm becoming, everything that's powerful within me. And it's a time, Aries, to claim your sovereignty. Okay, so this was a live example. You know, like I said, trauma can be stored with our this karmic review with Saturn Aries has trauma involved in the physical body that can manifest through thought, because Saturn is a planet of Vata, which is ether, and air, meaning our thoughts can create these psychosomatic illnesses that can exist in the physical world that are just not real, right? And so commit to showing up, you know, to yourself as a leader, to commit to the discipline of your self-image and your body. Let's see what we got. Aries in the 9th. I do not see Aries in my chart. I think you were a... Dang, can I not move this chat? I think you told me you're a Scorpio rising, which would theoretically make your Aries in whole sign 6th house. It could be something else in Placidus, but it's whole sign 6th house for you as a Scorpio rising. Focus at 5 degrees. All right. So let's move on now. I'll put my hand up and say Taurus. I know this is Taurus' horoscope. Oh crap, did I never start this thing? How they not gonna let me start it? Dang, it was never started. I just started the Q&A. That's crazy, yo. My bad, y'all. I thought I had it. It was just on my screen. I don't know. We rocking this Aries retrograde background. All right. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up and the likes button, y'all. All right. Again, drop Aries in the chat. I don't even know if I really want this as the background right now. Give me a cooler background. I do give you a reminder that right here, you might not be able to see all that. We're starting up the psychic training on next Saturday's class. Okay. God, what's this right here? Got some tarot pulls that was done recently. All right, I'm messing around. Let me just get off of that. Okay, so Taurus, here we go. Drop Aries, drop your planet, drop your house, and let's see what's happening. For Taurus, your horoscope, you're going through the 12th house during retrograde, Saturn retrograde in Taurus. The house of isolation, the house of secrets, the house of spirituality, of God, okay? The house of your crown chakra, right? Aries in the 3rd house. I see you. We just did Aries forecast, okay? But when we get to Gemini, the 3rd house should make sense for you, Malia, okay? Which is next, so stay tuned. Hit the thumbs up and likes button. Now, Aries is ruling the 9th and 10th house for Taurus, in Saturn specifically. And the fear and isolation that Taurus is going through is about losing control. especially as we just left Uranus and Taurus. You might have trauma in your physical body from all that shaking up that has been happening, where you might not fully feel like we're in Gemini yet, right? You're like, I'm still in Taurus, like I'm not safe, I'm not secure enough. Okay. And so Taurus, it's about confronting the hidden ways in which you sabotage yourself and seek in the seeking of control. Okay. When you are going through spiritual crisis, how do you sabotage yourself? This is the challenge. This is the fear that you may experience that other people don't know. When you're far away from the public eye, public image, Saturn retrograde wants you to, focus on your faith, wants you to focus on trust. Okay. In order to overcome it, the solitude is going to be necessary for your spiritual discipline, Taurus. Thank you for those thumbs up. Drop Aries in the chat. And, there's a certain amount of meditation that you're going to need to do. There's journaling that is going to help you through your shadow work right now during this time, okay? Help you understand your patterns, the hidden patterns that are all your hidden enemies, not somebody outside of you, but you, Pluto's 12th house. And, learning how to surrender control while you are still, and this is the key, defining clear goals, okay? Because Saturn wants this from you with the 9th and 10th house. Clear goals that have a masculine, clear direction and purpose as a feminine sign in Taurus. This will be something very, very powerful for you, okay, Taurus? And so for you to overcome this, do keep in mind, it's going to be about learning how to surrender control in the process of defining your goals. Meaning, when you set the goals, you may have a method, you may have a way you want to go about it, but it may not fully manifest in the way you thought so. Let that part go and focus on the end goal and the process that you work through. Thank you for those thumbs up. Thank you for those hearts in the chat. Comment your Aries. We're going to move into Gemini. Okay, so for Gemini rising, what you can expect during this karmic review of Saturn and Aries. 11th house transit for you, about friendships, high aspirations that are to come, what groups and communities to support, as well as which ones you're going to be under review, who you don't want to support, what membership you don't want to be a part of. So like, again, we're having our membership meeting, we're doing psychic training. 11th house and under Saturn's review might say, we don't want to do Pernell's membership. This is the group I do not want to support because I don't believe in him. He's not one of integrity. And it's about being honest and real with yourself about that. Or it's doing the opposite and saying, yo, you know what? This dude has been true throughout time. Saturn, for year after year after year, I realized that I've joined so many bad communities and I have fears that he might be the next one to let me down, to disappoint me. But I'm realizing that that's just an old fear, a trauma that is stored in my body, and it's not real. Let me join his membership. So Gemini risings, you may be going through stuff like this, where the fear is about being isolated and rejected by your peers within the group. So you may think it's about me, aka Saturn in projection, thinking, oh, he's the wrong one. But in reality, it's about the fear of being rejected by the people in the group. What if they don't like me? What if they don't accept me? What if they don't understand me because I don't speak English as my first language? It's my second language, my third language, Gemini language. What if I'm doing psychic training? I've always wanted to do this, but I have the fear of like, what if my psychic abilities are broken? What if they don't work? Right? The fear of like failing as a psychic, a fear of failing as a group member. These are the things you're going through, Gemini rising. But here's how you overcome it. You structure your goals very realistically. You don't set yourself up for failure. You learn how to network with integrity. You don't join something just because you think it's cool and it's hip in the moment. You join something because you feel intimately drawn toward it. Saturn is ruling your 8th house. You feel so intimately connected to it. You feel like there's this deep desire that goes beyond the moment. It's like it's hitting me at a soul level that I know I need to join the Shamans Roundtable. Let me go ahead and do that. So it's the fear of facing this betrayal that you have experienced within communities, within your peers, that you felt rejected by at some point, and realizing that there is a loss of friendships that you might experience by setting your goals, by setting your boundaries. And when you do that, that's not a bad thing. It never has been, okay? It's a positive and potent thing, opening you up for the things and the people that do matter. So again, drop your zodiac, your house, your sign down below in the chat, Gemini. Hit the thumbs up if you're watching. I appreciate you. Cancer rising. Here's what we're doing. Ooh, excuse moi. Ooh, Cancer. We had to get that air out of the gut. So Cancers, 10th house, your career is under the microscope, is under the lens where you are reassessing your reputation, your identity is on the line. How do you conform to authorities, and where will you not conform? How will you decide to stand true up for yourself? Saturn ruling your 7th and your 8th house. The fear of isolation for you is about exposure. It's about the fear of responsibility. It's about being seen as a public figure. You know you have the power. You know you have the potency. You have the maternal instincts to lead like the divine mother. And the fear is there. But the Saturn retrograde says take more disciplined steps so that you can build yourself up from the small existence that you've chosen out of fear, and be willing to build your authority through small disciplined steps, little by little, brick by brick, learning how to review your commitments, okay, Cancer, and face the vulnerability of success. You know, when you're successful, when you're somebody walking on a red carpet, people are going to know some of your business. It doesn't mean they are intimately in tune with your feelings or your emotions, okay? They will know some of your business, but they will also know the image that you structure and you give to them. Leo, we're in the 9th house, okay, of what you have adopted as for a belief. What are your philosophies, Leo? This is a question. What types of esoteric and psychic travels have you taken, or is Saturn in retrograde asking you to take? Whether that is taking trips abroad within your mind or deep within your Akashic records, you can do that with me. You can take on Akashic record readings with me. I do offer that as a service. It's on my website. If you're interested in an Akashic record reading / angelic Reiki, I do both in one, Akashic records and angelic Reiki, so we can heal the past life stories and narratives, the fears that you have, okay, with Saturn ruling your 6th house of health and your 7th house of partners and relationships, is the fear of the unknown in your relationships, the fear of the unknown of the health ailment that you may be going through right now, okay, Leo sun right now and in the 9th house. Okay, there we go. Dottie's dream. So, you know, with this, there's a fear of literally being wrong for Leos right now. Like when it comes to recognizing your fears, when it comes to commitment, okay, be careful about what it looks like in partnership, and or the fear of commitment to a certain life's work that you're here to do, something that means something that you're working on that is here to be positioned throughout history in service, requires you to really address your belief system, your own philosophy about how do you traverse and move forward and aim for an intuitive high path, okay, a bigger self, a bigger version of yourself where you're willing to take the risk about everything that you just don't know, but you feel it in your heart that it's the right way to go. Your biggest fear that you experience when you're alone, okay, right now during Saturn retrograde, for Saturn retrograde, is being wrong, okay? So don't be afraid to be wrong, Leo. This is the key right now. How you overcome this right now is to study higher occult wisdoms, higher occult truths, okay? It is to meditate, okay? It is to work with your peers, people that keep you accountable, people that keep you full of integrity with your spirit work that you do in the physical world. So Who are your peers helping and reminding you to stay accountable to do your breath work? Who are your peers helping you and staying mindful and accountable to release emotions out of your body so that these fears that tied and linked to the emotions can pass out of your body from a time when you were criticized for being wrong, from a time where you were judged publicly that made you feel like I'm never going to be wrong again, so I'm just not going to share. I'm not going to dive deeper into my spirit work. I'm not going to dive deeper into to releasing physical traumas from my body, because as and when I do, okay, I know that life will ask me to share my philosophy. Life will ask me to become the teacher. Life will ask me to become somebody that others look up to, but I'm afraid to be wrong. So it's asking you how you overcome this, Leo, is to create a very disciplined spiritual and or educational practice. Okay, study, learn right now. This is your way out, Leo. Okay, if you're in a group, if you're in a community, Leo, take more leadership within that community. So even if there's another leader in there, other peers of yours will look at you as a leader. This is a safer place to step up into your strength. Stop playing small. All right? Don't play small, Leo. It's not going to work for you right now. I see you going through it as a Leo sun. I see and feel the risk, and I am releasing Saturn's hold and stand strong in the face of the fear and own it. Yes. That's what this Saturn retrograde wants. Shout out to you, Divine Rights, one of our members. See, you got the alien on there, so you've been a member for some time now. That's super dope. I appreciate you. Shout out to you. All right, Leo, hit the thumbs up and the likes button. That's your fears and how to overcome them. Now we move into Virgo. Deep house, 8th house transit for Virgo. Okay. And Daughter's Dream, I know you were thinking about joining that membership. Okay. We not this Sunday, but the Sunday after we meet up. I encourage you, even if it's just 1 month, join it. Learn the practices you'll learn in that 1 month. I promise you that 1 month might be all you need. And if you got to get out from there, get out. It's 1 month. What do you have to lose? You'll learn some practices, and you can implement that for your Leo 9th house message that we just did. All right. So again, it's only $33. You could join it 1 month. You can literally get out the next day, so you won't have any recurring payment on that, and you'll have all the classes and materials for that 1 month. So I want to see you in there. All right. I think it's time to overcome whatever these fears are. Okay. Virgo, here we go. Virgo. 8th house, okay? We're talking investments. We're talking transformation. How do you allow a part of your ego die and be reborn, Virgo? How do you share your resources intimately with Saturn ruling your 5th and your 6th house, a potential lover? How do you share your resources investment with your children? How do you share your resources with the people you are co-working with, the people you are destined to do your life's work with? The fear in isolation that you may experience is that of loss, the fear of literally becoming dependent on somebody. What's up, Sasha? Good to see you up in here, girl. 1st house, Aries, no planets. Well, check in for Virgo. I think you have Virgo on your chart. Check in right now. We're on Virgo right now. But everybody has a house. So what is your rising sign? I think you are Pisces Rising. That makes Aries your 2nd house. I believe it's your 2nd house of worth, values. So Virgo, what is the vulnerabilities that you experience in your sex life, Virgo? Okay. And if not your sex life, the vulnerabilities you're experiencing with your money and potentially being dependent, sexually speaking, for somebody to deal with complex emotions. All right. We see this a lot when somebody unwilling to deal with complex emotions. It's possible where people are integrating that energy and they're cycling it and they're attracting someone who may be also avoiding deep emotions, or money troubles, okay? Or the fear of losing. Maybe you don't have money troubles, but you have a lot of money, but you still fear losing that money. Maybe you have a sexual partner and it's great, it's awesome, you're having healthy sex, but you're afraid to lose that partner, okay? Or become dependent on them because it's so great. So how you overcome this fear of loss, dependence, as well as vulnerability in your transformations when it comes to transforming your sex life or transforming the way in which you spend your money, the way in which you lose your money or invest it and regain it more powerfully, more potently on in excess. Eighth house is a house of big money, large sums, large lump sums at a time. But you lose some. If you hold it, you won't get it. So how you overcome everything I just said is Virgo risings or Virgo suns, Virgo moons. You practice disciplining yourself financially speaking, okay? Financial literacy. Get obsessed with becoming more financially literate. Get obsessed with how to manage an LLC or a trust. Get obsessed with how to properly manage your resources so that you're not afraid of losing them or becoming dependent on another. Okay? Virgo moon, see you. This is for you right now with your moon in Virgo. You're another one right now. Okay? Especially the moon. Especially the moon, because the moon represents the people that you are now sharing it with. Who do you invest in? Literally, moon in Virgo is ruled by the 11th house of communities. And so I say it again, check out, because, like how many, no, how many, yeah, 10th house is Libra, 11th house Virgo, 12th house is Leo. Yeah, so Virgo is 11th house of communities. So join the right communities with that Virgo moon. Don't be afraid to lose. Worry about what you are gaining. Know what you are gaining and know that you don't know everything you're gaining. But when you invest, you receive and a greater tenfold. This is a key. I'm speaking to myself as well. So, financial discipline, as well as doing shadow work around intimacy, okay? So what does that look like, Virgo? As a Virgo, it's Saturn and Aries. Shadow work around intimacy for me means becoming very intentional with your sexual manifestations and creations. This looks like whoever you are having sexual relationships with, talk to them. You guys can be literally butt naked, but before insertion, take a time to pause and breathe with each other in sync. Get your heart rhythms in sync. Get your breath in sync. Speak. Virgo is a Mercury ruled sign. Speak and say, I would like to manifest a new LLC. I would like to manifest a trip to Iceland, Ireland, one of these places. I would like to manifest a new YouTube career. I would like to manifest, 3 times the income I'm making. Are you in agreement with that? Literally while you're naked, before insertion, are you in agreement with that? And maybe they say, yeah, I'm down for that. Maybe they say, no, I'm not feeling it. Like my heart's not feeling it. Find the middle space. And when y'all both agree on something and ask for an intention, this can be shadow work around intimacy. This can be shadow work around your sex life where now you're not mindlessly creating and birthing something that neither of y'all shared together. Okay? It's just somewhere in your mind, but it's not in sync with that person's thoughts in their mind. So y'all both creating Saturn Aries retrograde, mindlessly. And it's finally your rituals that you can invest in that can help you transmute your fear into trust. Virgo, this 8th house transit for you is a lot of it is about trust. Okay, transmute whatever you're fearing, aka loss, dependence, vulnerability, money and sex, etc. Transmute that into something you trust. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up and the likes button, Virgos, in the chats. I appreciate y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed that. Hope y'all got something from that. Let's talk about Libra rising, Libra sun, Libra moon. You are transiting, obviously, the 7th house, opposite of Aries, Saturn retrograde in Aries. Okay. This is the house of other people. This is the house of projections. This is the house of what it looks like rather than what it is. This is the house of partnership. This is the house of one-on-one connections, okay? One-on-one conversations. This is the house of clients, one-on-one clientele, right? Saturn rules your 4th and your 5th house of your internal environment, as well as the risk you take in entrepreneurship and etc. Children, love. For you, Libra, there's a fear of conflict and or rejection, potentially from a lover or your children. If you have kids, feeling rejected by your kids when you share an emotion which is already not comfortable for Libra, right? You may share an emotion with your kid, with your lover. You may share an emotion, publicly speaking, where your pride is on the line. At least you feel that way. And you're like, I'm trying to hide a little bit. The fear of rejection, as well as not being loved, just flat out for who you are. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button. I appreciate you. So if you have the fear of being loved just because of who you are, Libra, this is Saturn's karmic review and Saturn retrograde while it's in Aries, wanting you to play bigger, demand bigger, okay? Demand more. Be willing to be seen. Be willing to speak, manifest, and create the reality that, yo, I'm worth this, without a doubt. I'm ready for it. I'm on it. I'm taking action toward it, okay? Everything you put in Libra right now during retrograde will come back as the retrograde finishes. So don't be afraid to take a new action in retrograde. Life is saying exactly that. Eight of Swords? Eight of Cups. 8 of Cups. Take a new action. Stop choosing the old. Okay? Don't fear being rejected or loved for who you are. How you overcome this, Libra. What's up, Samir? Good to see you up in here. Tarot World, let me read your question in one moment. How you overcome this, Libra, is to commit to an authentic connection. Stop doing anything on the surface level just because it looks like it's going to help you progress your career, or because it looks like it's going to help you build a stronger foundational base, or because it looks like it's going to be what it feels like. Address the authentic connection. Learn how to negotiate boundaries, okay? And that may be a negotiation with yourself, meaning maybe you have a boundary, but you need to negotiate new terms because that boundary has been outdated, emotionally speaking, and it is tied to an emotion that is stuck, not in motion. The energy is stuck. The emotion is flatlined, and it is a version of you, a line where you didn't love yourself. So if you love yourself today, I want you to say in the chat, yes, I do. Everybody, I don't care if you're a Libra, say, I love myself today. Yes, I do. And let that be every day. I love myself every day. I love myself today. I love myself every day. All right. So how you overcome that, say that affirmation out loud, okay? Work on your family and your childhood trauma stuck in your body, okay? Stuck in your physical body. Remember, just tap. Libra, you're the kidneys. Tap on those kidneys. Literally just hit. Why are you doing this live with me right now? Okay? Tap on those kidneys. We just did a energetic kidney healing with our auras in our last membership meet. Join our membership meet. If you want to do these things regularly, we just did this on the kidneys. We just did Qigong and Tai Chi and energetic Reiki. And I taught people that. We did it. And it's like, you may know it, but are you doing it? That's what the accountability of the groups are, the community. So do check that out. It's pinned in the chat. All right. You could join our membership. So everything influencing love from pattern-wise, families, traumas, Libra. Focus on those authentic connections, okay? You can go back, Samir, and at the beginning of the video, we talked everything about Saturn and Aries retrograde. I also have another video already out there about Saturn and Aries retrograde. Tarot World, I think you had a question. You think it's because of Saturn in the 12th house that made boundaries? I don't know what zodiac. Tell me what zodiac. Tell me what you're talking about. Who's 12th house? Wait, Taurus is the only one I could think of off the top of my head. Because of that combination of the 12th house and sign represent foreign countries as well as foreign currency. 12th house is also foreign currency. And Saturn represents the boundary and karma. So is it just because it implies on international events as well, such as Trump? All right, I'm imagining you're talking about Saturn and Aries. And if so, Saturn and Aries is ruled by the 10th and the 11th house. I need to know more specific. I'm talking about general transit. In general transit, Saturn and Aries rules the 10th and the 11th house, not the 12th. In a general transit wise. Yeah, no. For the 12th house, Saturn rules Aquarius for the 12th house in the first house. I think it also rules Saturn and Pisces, I believe, is, let me confirm. Yeah, Saturn and Pisces is also 12th house ruled, not Aries. Aries is 10th and the 11th, which is about your status, what you want out of life, your friendships, your connections. All right, let's move into Scorpios. What up, Scorpio gang? Okay. Take a sip, hit the thumbs up and the likes button. Good to see y'all up in here. I appreciate y'all. Shout out to Divine Rights, one of our members here on the chat. Do check out, again, the pinned link. You could join our shamanic roundtable. Is Saturn weak in Aries or stronger? I don't think it's weak. It is exalted in Libra, which makes it in its fall in Aries. But I don't think any detriment, any domicile, I don't think any sign is weak in any sign, if I'm being honest. Like, I think it's more a matter of, do you understand the energy, and do you transmute that energy and manipulate it for what it's worth? Okay. So weak, I won't say that. Difficult, different story. Okay. However, I like to believe that Aries is a tremendously disciplined sign once it emotionally matures. Okay, it's actually very, very disciplined. It's like a soldier. Aries is a soldier, and soldiers are disciplined. Guess what soldiers do? They follow orders. Sometimes to their naivety, sometimes blindly, but they follow orders, which makes that person very well disciplined. And Saturn requires discipline. So I think Saturn Aries works very well by default, even though it's in its fall. Okay. But it doesn't mean it's not difficult, because I do believe it's difficult. Now, Scorpio risings, you are transiting your 6th house of the routines that you do, the work that life is saying, this is your great work. This is why you exist. It's your bodily, mental, and social health. All right, Scorpio. Are you having enough conversations? Saturn retrograde for you in Aries, Saturn retrograde Aries, rules your 3rd and your 4th house, Scorpio. Okay. Of language, body language, communication with the environment, and your internal well-being. So your fear during Scorpio, for Scorpios, Sun, Scorpio Moon, Scorpio Rising, your fear to be isolated while in Saturn retrograde is failing at small tasks. Okay. And so one, you have to identify what is a small task for you. Is this paperwork? Is this tedious matters like accounting and your finances? Scorpio is about debt, right? About money, about what you value. So it could be, that could be considered a small task, but tedious, and the fear of failing in that task itself. Okay. Failing to complete your routines, failing to take care of your body, physically speaking, emotionally, otherwise, failing to do your yoga, failing to exercise, failing to read a book when you know it's necessary to give your mind rest, failing to take a nap, failing to rest, Scorpio. Okay? Hit the thumbs up and the likes button. Fear right now for you, Scorpio, looks like burnout and or illness. The fear to become ill because you're burning your fires irresponsibly. Okay? Too hot. The fear of literally being trapped. This is what Scorpios are going through during the retrograde in Aries. So the question is, how do you overcome this? And the main thing is learning to discipline your habits. Discipline yourself with the foods that you are eating. I know that I've had to do this, right? Like, I think like 2 weeks ago, from now to 2 weeks ago, I've had to discipline my health. Because we already are in shadow, right? We were already in shadow retrograde period, in the shadow. But prior to that, for like every day straight for like a month, I was eating cake. Some kind of cake, some kind of pastry, some kind of donut, which not donuts much because I don't really like donuts that much. Mostly I was eating cakes, like I was eating pies, like I mean every day, like no fail. And eventually, a month later, after a month of doing it, my body just purged. I had diarrhea. I was empty. My body was like, get all of this out, because the thing is, it created illnesses specifically through the kapha, or the through the sweets, the artificial sweets in my gut. It tampered with my intuition. It tampered with my emotions. It tampered with my internal security. Okay, so my body eventually flushed it all out through diarrhea. It was like, get it out, get it out, get it out. We need a whole new body. We need a whole new intuition. We need to clear it, because now you're inviting, at this point, fears. You're inviting things that I don't really deal with, if I'm being honest. Like, you're twisting your intuition. Your emotional intelligence is being affected, negatively speaking. So Scorpio, I'm a Scorpio rising, right? Like, I am a Scorpio rising. So I feel like this is a part of it. The fear of being trapped. And I told you a little bit earlier, like, I felt this fear of being trapped. I'm like, yo, like, I'm afraid to be stuck. Like, I love to travel. I've been traveling forever. I've left the States 9 years ago, and I've had this recent awkward fear, like, that I can't comprehend about traveling. Like, I want to go back abroad. Like, I just came back from abroad, but I want to go back abroad again. And I don't know why, this fear. So retrograde wants us to do some shadow work and check in with this. Become very disciplined with our daily task, because guess what? When I'm doing those months worth of sweets, guess what I started to fall off of? My breath work, keeping my mind, my third eye, all the illusion and hallucinations clear, keeping my connection to spirit and trust and faith clear. I struggled with this in the last week or so. Creating more sustainable routines, whatever that means for you, as well as focusing on healing practices of the mind and body. Now, thankfully, we do have the membership, and so because I'm leading that, guess what? I'm always doing these practices. So they really did still keep me grounded, even though for me, regularly, this is every day. If I'm being honest, this is normally every day. It's not just when I meet up with my members, it's every day. So that when I meet up with them, I'm still doing it in integrity, with authenticity. And so the fear of literally, focusing on what are these small tasks, right? Like brushing your teeth seems like a small task, but guess what? It adds up. When you don't have that on routine and you just decide, I'll brush my teeth when I get there, or flossing is probably a better example, because it's like, who flosses every day? I don't know. Maybe you crazy if you do, but you're probably not. When you floss every day, this is a great thing I know for masculine energy. Just the simplicity of a commitment to flossing every day. Guess what? You're flossing the teeth. Who are the teeth? This is Saturn. Saturn represents the teeth and the bones. So what are you doing? You're adding discipline through deciding, through routine, Scorpios. I'm going to floss every day, meaning I'm going to keep my structure squeaky clean. I'm going to keep these fears in check. I'm going to isolate with intention and purpose so that I can connect with spirit, not so that I can disconnect with human beings. And so focus on your healing practices for the mind and the body, Scorpio, okay? What's up, Kareem? Good to see you in here. I had this sudden spine movement. Move that thing, Dan. Ooh, move that thing. Move that thing. Yeah. 55 degrees in 5 years. Rare. I believe spiritual. Shake that spine, shake that kundalini. Aries is the base of the kundalini. It's the beginning. Saturn retrograde. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button. Let me know where your Aries is at in your chart. Thank y'all for joining live. I appreciate y'all. I see 7 people hit the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Sagittarius, okay? Sagittarius sun, Sagittarius rising. To be honest, wherever you have, if you have multiple planets in Sagittarius, you have more than 2 to 3, then it's going to count for you, okay? Before we get into Sagittarius, let's look at this. Retired 22-year dental assistant here. Right. Can't floss like I used to. I get it. Wow. Wow, okay. This is the second time today I hear that. I need to watch what I'm eating. Ooh. Yo, I tell you, I hate to cut back. Because again, after I had that diarrhea, I flushed everything out. I could only eat like rice for like a week and a half, yo. I'm still eating rice. I just started integrating more vegetables. So it's kind of added in. Rice and bananas was my diet for like 2 weeks after that. I had to purge. And then just started adding carrots and started adding zucchini, some soft vegetables. I think I just got the sweet potato. Yesterday was the first day I made some boiled chicken, slow cook. Got that thing shredding like smooth, very easy, soft and digestion system. Focus on the muscles, the thighs and the leg. Thighs better for me. All right, especially if you're dealing with dryness. Sagittarius. Oh, Okay, Sagittarius, thank you for bearing with me. I had to just ground my own spirit for a moment. You're going through the 5th house of what you create, who you date, how you relate, okay? With pleasure, how you relate with your inner child, how you take risk that your inner child is craving to listen to it. It's saying, hey, daddy, hey, big brother, hey, sis, listen to me. I have a message for you. Saturn rules your 2nd and your 3rd house, Sagittarius. Okay. How do you value your generational foundation? As well as communicating with that foundation, your inner child again. You have the fear during Saturn retrograde that you're not talented. That you are literally untalented, that you have no known skills and abilities that you were born with. Okay, you are experiencing right now, Sagittarius, the fear to embrace joy, embrace a good time, just have fun. Like the otter spirit, otter as in the spirit animal, the otter. And one of their messages is to have fun. Okay, to appreciate and be grateful for your partner in your life or the people that do love you, that not focused on who doesn't love. The fear as well as investing in your desires, realizing that to invest in your desires means to take a risk in what you desire. If you want something so bad, it's gonna cost you something. It's gonna be scary somewhere along the way. So how you overcome this fear, okay, because it's not true, this fear is an hallucination, it's in your imagination, is to create something where you are more playful on a daily. Create something where you're doing art daily, even if that is singing by yourself, walking through and rhyming here. Something as simple as that. Just beatbox. Like you don't have to, but just do something creative every day. That's how you're gonna overcome this fear. And learn how to budget energy and time for your passions, Sagittarius. This is a key. So you learn how to share your gifts more consistently. You, Sagittarius, are here to publish your philosophies, your thoughts, your beliefs, your passions, your joys, your experiences, your inspirations. Okay, your inspired moments are here to be shared, to be publicized, Sagittarius. So you got to budget energy for that and be consistent with your gift to the world. Hit the thumbs up and the likes button, Sagittarius, if you're rocking with that. I feel like we should eat what the sun kisses. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, 1,000%. Mangoes, cantaloupe, bananas, right? Basically a lot of fruit. watermelon. You will definitely have a charge if you can make sure you eat what the sun kisses. Your body will be energetically charged. Why? Is that why they call kisses sugar? My grandma would say, come give me some sugar, baby. I get you. Come here, get your grandma some sugar. Come on, get your auntie some sugar. Give me some sugar. Makes sense. What does it mean if it says first house, part of fortune, Sagittarius? Anything? Yeah. For this particular moment, like, to be honest, I don't have time to go into that. But what I can say is your fortune is literally, I mean your literal fortune, financial wealth, physical health, the fortune of your health, the fortune of your social environment. All of it is in you being a Sagittarius. Literally. The more Sagittarius you could be, the more wealthy you will become. Spiritually wealthy, emotionally wealthy, psychologically wealthy. That's your part of fortune. And everything within the first house, also Aries. Everything you do Aries related. Meaning, stop thinking so much. Just start doing. Don't think about what you want to do. If you feel like you want to do it, do it. Stop thinking. When you think, you lose it. Especially Sagittarius and first house, you're going to lose it. The moment you start thinking, you lost. Don't think. Just do. That's your fortune. You will create a fortune by stop thinking. Just do. Capricorn Rising. Everybody hit the thumbs up and the likes button. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. All right. Do again. Remember, we have the membership. You can join that down below. All right. Not this Sunday, but the next Sunday, we're meeting up again. Capricorn, your fourth house, your home, family, roots. Saturn rules, obviously, your first house. Saturn's your home planet, okay? And your second house, okay, of what you value. Your big fears, Capricorn, is the fear of emotional exposure. Being exposed, okay? Feeling like you failed in your role as a family member, whether you're a sister, your brother, you're the older sister, you're the older brother, whether you're a mother, your father, and you feel like you failed your children. Okay, feeling like you failed in your role that has been assigned to you as a family member is going to be the fear that you experience when you're alone, when you're in isolation. Saturn's karmic review, Saturn retrograde, says the scarcity mindset around this home, around your family, around security itself, around being exposed, emotionally speaking, is exactly that. It's scarcity. Okay, so operate in a higher frequency best you can. Now, how do you do that? How do you overcome that? It's about building an inner sanctuary, okay? This internal locus of control where when you take time and space to reinvent your own internal emotional world as well as your emotional identity, it no longer is so dependent on external exposure. All right? Even if it got exposed, you're cool with it because you processed it. Your only fear comes because the lack of processing. When you don't process, this is when things are going to be bad, right? So how you also overcome this is to learn how to root yourself more deeply, as well as practically into your self-worth. So how do you practically root into valuing yourself? A simple example is looking yourself in the eyes in the mirror and saying, hell yeah, I'm worthy. I believe it, and say it with a smile. Because you could say, yes, I'm worthy. Yes, I'm worthy. Yes, I'm worthy. Like this with this blank face. And will it work? Maybe not. But you say, yes, I'm worthy. Yes, I'm worthy. What it feels like to be worthy. God damn, I love this feeling of worthiness. Ooh, I feel so worthy. I'm ready. Ooh, I love making money. Yes. Ooh. When you say it with that smile, when you say it, you don't even have to fully mean the smile up front. Guarantee you do this in the mirror with a smile, you'll start believing it very quickly. You're going to start actually smiling for real. So set up practical home goals as well as routines in the house that you can do and let that represent part of your internal sanctuary, building a structure. Capricorn, hit the thumbs up, hit the likes button. And thank you for being here. All right. Aquarius, third house, mindset, siblings, communication, mindset, environment, how you talking with your environment. Now remember, Saturn is ruling your 12th house as well as your first house of identity during Saturn retrograde in Aries for Aquarius. This primarily is about the fear of speaking up, an irrational judgment that you have based in illusion, based in hallucinations, where you have become your own hidden enemy, Aquarius. You have become your own mindset trap, okay? And a lot of this fear that you experience in isolation is being misunderstood so much that you decide, I'm not going to speak up because you know what? If I don't speak up, I can't be misunderstood. I'm not going to join that group because you know what? If I'm not in a group, I can't be judged. I can't be misunderstood. Right? I don't have to fear speaking up if I don't have to speak up. I'm by myself. So you stay isolated. So the fear is really your own mind experiencing its own negativity. It's just talking to itself. It's literally poisoning itself, and it's not real. It's you communicating with your own demons, and your demons in this environment, in this moment, is negative emotions, and negative attachments, and negative thoughts. And so what you can do with third house during your karmic review is to stop watching dramatic TV shows, stop watching reality TV shows, stuff that's not real, because it's ruling your first house as well, which is a very authentic house, meaning you got to be real. The only way I find that you can be real is in isolation. Because guess what? When there's nobody around you to approve, and there's no TV you're watching in your privacy, and no IG scrolling about reality, fictional stars in Hollywood and etc. When you're not doing media things that are displaying everything that's so fake, then you start to see very clearly what's real. It's also about joining real life communities. Okay, so the fear of being misunderstood. Now, how you overcome it is focus on disciplined writing and or studies. Okay, so become more mindful with your practices, Aquarius. Sun, Aquarius, Moon, Aquarius, Rising, and learn how to consciously reframe negative self-talk. So it's like when you hear yourself talk about yourself and you say something like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. It doesn't matter if you think you're playing or, oh no, I was just playing. It wasn't really, like, your mind doesn't care. Your mind doesn't think I'm playing. And your soul is like, oh, that was so rude. I wish he wouldn't do that. But the soul just watches on standby and hopes to find a way to guide you towards positive self-talk. So when you catch yourself saying, oh my God, I'm so stupid. Oh my God, that was so stupid. And it's like, no, it wasn't stupid. What was it in reality? It was an experimentation. One that you actually really believed in. But you're convincing yourself that it's stupid even though you feel like, I believe in this invention of mine. I believe in this positive thought, no matter how crazy it is. But I'm more afraid of being misunderstood. Okay, so if I can address that, I can realize, let me join the right community that is not going to judge me. I can tell you right now, for example, join our SHAMANS roundtable. We ain't going to judge you not in the slightest bit. In fact, we're going to show you how magnificent your genius is. So that's a possibility. I would love to see y'all in there. We meet not this Sunday, but the next Sunday. The link is pinned in the chat. Aquarius, that's you. Reframe yourself to speak positively about yourself, to speak positively about your fears, to speak positively about your dreams, to speak positively about the loss that you go through. Whatever you lose, speak positive about the loss itself. Okay? Speak positive about your brother or your sister. Speak positive about your aunt, even if you don't like her. About your uncle, even if you don't like him. Even people you don't like, speak positively about them. Aquarius rising, but I think I feel the progressed Aries rising. Self-respect, power, will, and sovereignty. Dope. And remember, for Saturn is ruling your first house, so it has some of that Aryan layer. But I do agree, I hear you. You know, I really put a lot of stock for myself into my rising sign. I also put a lot of stock into my solar return rising sign. Okay? Yeah, I put a lot of stock into my solar rising. So, tap in with those. Great point. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up and the likes button if you're in here watching. I appreciate you. Join our membership if it's something interesting for you. I've got a book of one-on-one reading, Akashic record reading, something I'm officially now offering. Astrology readings, astrocartography, angelic Reiki healing. These are all offerings on our website. But I'm putting a focus right now on the membership, so go ahead, become a new member. Pisces Rising, here we go. This is for you. I don't know if Sasha is still in the chat, but this is Pisces rising. I know you were Pisces rising. Second house in transit, your sense of self, your sense of worth, the things you hold on to, Pisces rising, the thoughts and the emotions that you hold on to, the assets, the things, the resources that you hold on to, Pisces rising, is under karmic review during Saturn retrograde in Aries. Saturn is ruling your 11th and your 12th house, even though you're transiting the second house. And this is a fear of not having enough money, not having enough resources, not having enough self-love, not having enough confidence in your abilities, in your innate natural talents, not having enough confidence in your voice. Second house represents the voice. Not having enough confidence in your community and your friendships, not having enough confidence with the way in which you deal with your irrational fears, your enemies in the subconscious mind inside of yourself. Okay, the fear of not being literally enough. Okay, the fear of dissipating, the fear of losing your future dreams, but in the present moment, in the now. So this is what Pisces is going through. And the question is that real? The answer is no, absolutely not, without a doubt. It's an illusion, it's a hallucination. Yet, it doesn't mean that you're not experiencing it. So the thing is, how do you deal with it? It's learning how to focus on budgeting, okay, second house, as a ritual, okay? Learning how to build a value-based income. Hey, what's up, Maria? Good to see you. Learn how to build a value-based income. And the thing is with this, it's income streams, because the 11th house is about multiple income streams. It's not about making money one way, it's about making money in multiple streams. But with the second house here, you have to value every one of the streams. So if you don't value doing telemarketer work, you can't go have that become one of your income streams and allow it to actually last. This is what Saturn has you under the microscope for. It says, no, like, make sure you value that income stream. If you don't value doing social media marketing, then you can't do that as a side job as one of your income streams, right? You should have the ticket in your email. Okay, guess I got an email. Also overcome this by reaffirming consistently your self-worth through affirmation. Reaffirm your worth. Learn how to understand and commit to a very long-term financial vision and plan, okay? Hey, what's up? Good to see you. Thank you for hitting the thumbs up and the likes button. So, oh, cool. I'm glad to see y'all. 9 thumbs up. That's super dope. I appreciate y'all. And this is what it is for you, Pisces. So if you rock with that, then I appreciate you. And so I remind you all, as we go through, anybody want to ask questions right now about anything related to Saturn retrograde, Saturn in Aries, Saturn through one of your signs, now's the time to do it before I evacuate the premises. And more than that, Saturn retrograde, reminder, is not a punishment, okay? Somebody asked earlier, Saturn retrograde, hard or difficult. What's your rising sign, Maria? Everybody has Aries house somewhere. Everybody has an Aries house somewhere. And maybe you don't have it in your natal chart, but you likely have it in your solar return chart. Maybe you definitely have it in your solar return chart, like, because right now Saturn and Neptune is in Aries, so you automatically have it for Saturn and Neptune in your return chart. What house is the question? Okay. And Chiron in Aries is a very important Aries, so that is Aries. Again, what house is it? That's where you get focused. So again, Saturn Aries, understand this, it's not a punishment, okay? Saturn Aries is the great teacher, okay? It's the great taskmaster, help you understand what to do, when to do, how to do it in some structured way, some format. Help you understand what area of your life right now is asking for discipline, was asking for structure, asking for more integrity, okay? Saturn in Aries, Saturn retrograde, is really about the raw power of I am. Everything I am is really the beginning source of the embodiment of your godlike energy to create and manifest in truth and integrity and authenticity. And that's what's going to be tested, the power of your I am, the power of you no longer playing small or playing wounded or playing fragile, okay? But understanding that right now, it's the chance right now to build an unshakable foundation, an unshakable sense of confidence and self-worth, okay? For who are we becoming, right? And for who are you in the present moment, as well as who are you becoming? How do you bring that future present self into the current now in existence. And so this is Saturn retrograde. This is what I have for you. Time to face your darkest fears, right? Time to stop running from your fears. So identify, what am I afraid of? Be real with it. Be honest. Okay. Once you identify it, you can start addressing it and confronting it and let it stay where it belongs in the past. And where it belongs, not to you. You don't own it. It doesn't belong to you. Okay. So other than that, it's here to help you drag those fears out of the shadows. Saturn represents isolation and the shadows. It's here to help you drag them out of the shadows. You will get tested and want you to alchemize that power. To stay accountable for your identity, stay accountable with your passions, stay accountable with your personal power, stay accountable with your desires. And that's it. Do again, check out our link down in the chat. Okay. Join our membership. We're going to meet not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. We're going to do psychic training we're going to start with the first 3 fire signs, and then we'll move into the next element, and then the next element, and the next element. And that'll be those classes, 4 classes in a row. And then, yes, you will get the Qigong, you'll get the breath work, you get the group, the community, and the environment. People are going to help lift, support you, and whatever you're going through. And that is something I trust and believe, and I've seen it over the last 3 years of us being a part of that membership. So again, it is $33 a month. I do appreciate you as well for listening to these concepts, for hearing them out. As an Aquarius rising, for not allowing yourself to be misunderstood. I'm an Aquarius rising right now, actually, at my solar return. So that's a good message for me too. And I love y'all. I appreciate y'all tremendously. I thank you for being here. We'll tap in. We'll see you soon.